My name is Cami Lucero, and I'm 33 years old. People think boundaries are built in a single moment, a dramatic confrontation, a slammed door, a sudden awakening. But in my case, it happened slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. It began with a sentence I heard every summer for 10 years. "You're not coming on this family vacation." I still remember the first time they said it. I was 23, fresh out of college, working my first real project management job. My parents and my younger sister Lena were planning a getaway to Maui. I stood in the kitchen holding a mug of coffee while my mom said gently, "Sweetheart, the rental house only has 3 bedrooms, maybe next year." Next year didn't come. Not for me, at least. Every summer afterward, the excuses shifted like seasons. The second year, I was told Lena needed healing time with mom and dad after a breakup. The third year, they claimed the flights were booked before they thought to ask. By the fourth, there were no excuses at all, just photos. Photos of them in Santorini, Maui, Napa, anywhere but home, anywhere without me. I told myself it was fine, that they needed family time, that maybe I was being too sensitive. But the truth, I felt like a shadow orbiting a family that somehow didn't see me standing right there. What made it sting more was that, in those same 10 years, I became the unofficial financial backup for every crisis, emergency, and oops moment. Property taxes short by $900? I covered it. Dad's dental implant bill exploding above their insurance estimate? Put on my card. Lena's temporary move back home that turned into a 2-year residency where I paid her phone bill because she needed every penny for rent. I covered that too. It didn't happen all at once. It happened by inches. By just this once, and we'll pay you back in spring, and you're so good with money, Kami. Somewhere in that decade, helping turned into funding. And funding turned into a habit they depended on, a habit I didn't know how to undo. 3 years ago, after a string of unexpected bills, all deducted from a shared travel wallet I created to stop the chaos, something snapped in me. The travel wallet was meant to track family emergencies fairly. Deposits in, expenses out, a simple way to keep things transparent. But transparency didn't work when the only money going in was mine, and the only money going out was theirs. Lena would message, "Wallet short, $600. Can you top it off? I'll pay you Friday." Friday became Monday. Monday became, "Work is weird." Work is weird became silence. Mom cried whenever I tried to set a boundary. Dad sighed so loudly you'd think talking about money was a personal attack. Lena would send voice notes about how I was making everything transactional. Meanwhile, they took vacation after vacation without me. Last winter, after hearing, "We're going without you again this year," something inside me drew a line. A real one. A quiet one. A final one. If I wasn't part of their family vacations, then I would take a vacation for myself. Not out of revenge, not to make a point, just to breathe. Just to forget the feeling of being the forgotten one. So I booked it. A $14,000 private villa in Santorini, overlooking the ocean. My first real vacation that had nothing to do with anyone else's needs. Just me, a pool, sunlight, and silence. For 3 glorious days, I swam in warm water, ate cold fruit on the patio, slept without guilt, and existed without being needed. Then on the morning of day 3, still dripping from a swim, I walked up the villa stairs and froze. Because standing there, dragging 3 rolling suitcases across my private patio, were my mother, my father, and my sister Lena, all smiling. All acting like this was normal. Mom raised her sunglasses and beamed. "Cammy, surprise," she sang, like she'd orchestrated a heartwarming reunion. "We thought we'd join you. And since you already booked the villa, well, you can cover the rest." My mouth went dry. My toes curled against the tile. For 3 seconds, the world stood still. Then she added, cheerful as ever, "You don't mind, right?" I looked at their suitcases, at the towels around my neck, still dripping water, at the vacation I had built for myself after a decade of being left out. I smiled slowly, a dangerous, quiet smile. Then I said one word, "Understood." She didn't realize my tone had changed. She didn't recognize that something inside me had shifted. But I did. That was the moment my real vacation began. The thing about my family is that they assume silence means consent. If I don't argue, it must mean I agree. If I don't confront, it must mean I accept. So when I said understood, they interpreted it as permission. It wasn't. It was strategy. By the time they finished giving themselves a tour of my villa, my $14,000 sanctuary, I already had my plan. A plan that wasn't vengeful, wasn't dramatic, wasn't even angry. It was procedural. The same tone I use at work when I'm done warning someone and now I'm documenting everything. First step, the shared travel wallet. I opened the app, scrolled past a decade of history. Lena's spa days labeled anxiety, Mom's airport hotel exhaustion, Dad's cabin upgrades necessary comfort, and pressed pause card access. All three. Then I messaged the concierge. Hi, this is Cami Lucero, the lead guest on reservation number 4128. Please limit family members to 2 single-night guest passes only. After that, day access only. No authorizations without my approval. The concierge responded instantly. Of course, Ms. Lucero. Confirmed. Checkmate, politely delivered. Next step, airport transfers. In the email thread my mom forwarded earlier, sent to brag about how much trouble she went to arrange their trip, I found their return booking. Using the same company, I moved their pickup from the late-night seaplane they'd chosen to the earliest ferry of the day. Family emergency, I noted in the message. And it was true. The emergency was my boundaries. We had lunch on the patio that afternoon. I tried to enjoy the ocean breeze, the sound of waves, the scent of grilled fish, but Mom had other plans. Cammy, she chirped, waving the waiter over. We want the seafood feast, the big one, and 3 cocktails. Make it fun. Dad chuckled, tapping the table. Come on, Cammy, treat, treat. He said it like a magic word that would make me reach for my card. Lena filmed the scenery for her Instagram story. I can't believe you didn't tell us you were coming here, she said. It's kind of rude, honestly. I looked at all 3 of them. Then I paid for my salad. Just mine. Their smiles twitched. Small, confused, fragile. The first cracks. After lunch, while they lounged by the pool like they owned the place, I opened my laptop inside the villa and pulled up the spreadsheet I kept. My quiet proof of 10 years of imbalance. I began filling in the last 12 months. Luggage fees, cabin upgrades, lounge passes, airport hotel, designer clothes for unexpected weather, 2 spa days for Lena's anxiety, premium airport transfer, 3 passengers, not me. Check baggage add-ons, priority seat selection, line after line, dollar after dollar. A year's worth of transactions that felt like tiny betrayals. When the total finally populated at the bottom of the sheet, $9,870 out from me, $1,300 in from them, I pressed export PDF and saved it under a folder named Boundaries. It felt good, quietly good, like I was preparing a case file for my own emotional liberation. Dinner was where everything snapped. The waiter leaned in, professional, discreet, and whispered. They canceled everything. Dad froze mid-reach for his wine glass. Mom blinked rapidly, confusion turning to alarm. Lena's phone buzzed with an alert. She stared at the screen. My card just declined. Dad cleared his throat, hard. Did the bank block it? I took a slow sip of wine. No, I said. I paused the emergency wallet until we settle the last 12 months. Their faces dropped in stages, like slow-motion bewilderment. And just so you know, I added, calm as the sea behind me, starting tomorrow, you're on day passes here. After that, beaches and cafes. Sunsets are free. Lena scoffed. Are you serious? We flew across the world. You flew across the world, I corrected, using a wallet labeled Family Emergencies. I placed my phone on the table and opened the PDF. Lines, amounts, dates, reasons. No drama, just math. Mom scanned it and went straight to theatrics. You're embarrassing us, Cammy. I shook my head. No, I've been embarrassed for 10 years. Tonight, I'm being clear. Dad tried his old line, one he'd used since I was a teenager. Don't do this to your mother. I met his eyes steady. Don't do this to your daughter. Silence snapped across the table. The sound of waves felt louder than their breathing. I reached for my wallet when the check arrived and paid only for my portion. The waiter nodded, almost approvingly. Back at the villa, I walked ahead of them, locked my suite, and poured a glass of wine. Their voices drifted up the stairs, angry, defensive, panicked. I didn't join the argument. For the first time in a decade, I didn't join anything. That night, I sent a single message to the family group chat. I'm leaving the villa tomorrow morning. You're welcome to keep it for the remaining nights at your expense. Good luck. Typing bubbles appeared instantly. Mom, you're overreacting. Lena, OMG, Kami, selfish much? Dad, we'll talk in the morning. I muted the chat. Then I slept better than I had in months. I woke up before sunrise the next morning. The sky still dipped in blue, the air cool enough to feel clean. For the first time in a long time, my chest felt light, like something heavy had finally slid off it during the night. I packed a single suitcase. No commotion, no second guessing. By 7:30 a.m., I checked out of the villa. "You're leaving early, Ms. Lucero?" the concierge asked. I smiled. "Not early, just on time." He nodded, as if he understood exactly what I meant. I checked into a smaller hotel on the opposite side of the island, a quiet boutique spot overlooking cliffs dusted with morning light, the kind of place where no one asked for anything, no one expected anything. I spent the day swimming, wandering, eating grilled octopus with lemon, and breathing in a way I hadn't breathed in years. And then my phone began vibrating, and vibrating, and vibrating. My family had finally realized something. When I said I wasn't paying, I meant it. The villa wanted full payment up front for the remaining nights, something they assumed would land on my card. Their own cards were having unexpected errors. The driver they'd tried booking charged triple for last-minute transfers. Everything they'd taken for granted was suddenly theirs to handle. They went from indignant to confused to panicked in less than 48 hours. I didn't answer the calls. I didn't open the texts. I didn't even let myself feel guilty. Instead, I went to the hotel gym, worked out for the first time in months, and then called someone who actually cared about me. Evan, my boyfriend. He'd noticed the shift in me long before Santorini. He'd seen my exhaustion, my resentment, the way I always chose family duty over my own peace. "Your voice sounds lighter," he said the moment he answered. "What changed?" "I stopped apologizing for having limits," I replied. He laughed softly. "I like this version of you. Confident, clear." I did too. His voice was grounding, steady, unlike Lena's dramatics or Mom's guilt scripts. We talked about his ex, the one who used guilt to keep him around longer than she should have. "You're not obligated to bleed for people just because they say they need you," he said, "and neither am I." That sentence sealed something inside me. On the third Friday after I'd left the villa, the calls stopped being guilt-driven and became something else. Desperate. That afternoon, my mom's name flashed across my screen again. I answered. Her voice was shaky. "Kami, your father's card was declined at the pharmacy." Old Kami, the one they relied on, would have driven across town, card in hand, ready to rescue. But I wasn't her anymore. "Where's Dad?" I asked. She sounded relieved. "He's right here." She passed the phone. "Kami," Dad began, using the heavy voice he always used when he wanted compliance, "this is serious. I cut him off gently. "There's a hardship form in the email I sent you." "A what?" "A hardship form. It reduces monthly payments, but you still pay something. I told you, I am not your emergency anymore." He exhaled sharply, a frustrated, disbelieving sound. "Kami, stop this nonsense." "No," I said calmly. "You stop treating me like your financial backup." Silence. The kind that cracks something open. And then the line went dead. 2 hours later, a notification appeared on my phone. Auto draft completed. Account R. Lucero. No apology, no explanation. Just a payment finally made from the correct account. I didn't need gratitude. I just needed accountability. Then came Lena. She called with a tone so sugar-coated it practically dripped. "So, Kami, my lease renewal fee is due this week, and it's a lot. I thought maybe—" "No," I said before she finished. She sputtered. "Wait, what?" "You heard me." She switched tones instantly, sweet to outraged. "Well, what am I supposed to do?" "Sell the designer luggage you bought," I replied, "the one you charged to the travel wallet." A long pause. "You're unbelievable. You wanted advice, that's my advice." She sent 3 paragraphs afterward, paragraphs about how families should support each other, how I was cold, how this wasn't the Kami she grew up with. I answered with one sentence. "You are an adult." I watched the typing bubbles appear, then disappear. Later that night, I stood on the balcony of my little hotel room, watching the sun fall into the Aegean Sea. Colors melted into each other, orange to pink to violet. It was quiet. Not the quiet of being excluded. Not the quiet of resentment. Not the quiet of waiting for someone to call with another crisis. It was the quiet of peace. The kind you earn when you finally decide to stop setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I didn't know what my family would do next. I didn't know what the long-term fallout would be. But for the first time in 10 years, I knew they would figure it out without me. And for the first time in my life, that felt right.